Welcome back. Hey, welcome back to Deep Dives with Sali. I am on camera ready to dive deep into this Diddy case. Okay, I told you guys in my previous video that I'm going to be trying my best to provide day-to-day updates. So today we are on day 4 and it is all about cross-examining Cassie. The defense is trying to paint this picture that Cassie is this money hungry, she was thirsty for money, she was thirsty for fame. That's why she latched onto Diddy, and they're going to try to make it seem like this is a domestic abuse situation. They're going to try to make it seem like it's a complicated relationship. It has nothing to do with RICO. Yeah, so let's get into it. Before I even get started, I'm going to put out this trigger warning. If you are uncomfortable with the graphic, disturbing details of violence in this case, please feel free to click out of my video. And if you need resources, check out my description box for link for the National Hotline for Domestic Abuse. Listen, y'all, like, this is really serious. Even for mental health issues, if you cannot stomach some of the facts from this case, do what you gotta do. The cross-examination started out with a few text messages a few pictures of text messages that the jury was shown, and it's pretty much depicting the lovey-dovey-ness of their relationship. It's them just basically professing how much they love each other. Ventura saying how much she loves him. Diddy's also professing his love for Cassie, like, oh, I love you so much, I miss you, you know. It's also at some point in those texts, Cassie is asking Combs when are they going to do their next freak off or whatever. So it's kind of almost like where the defense is kind of just showing that Cassie was in on it and she was, you know, accepting and allowing this freak off sessions. Obviously this case is very early, okay? We are only on day 4, and I feel like the federal government is sitting on a numerous amount of evidence. It's gonna take time for them to build case step by step to tie it back to RICO. Obviously RICO is involving an organization, so there's people involved, there's security, there is the assistant, there's Cassie, there are other employees, drivers, security. So they gotta like put all those people on the stand to be able to pinpoint this was racketeering, this was arson, this was prostitution, this was that. So it's just like these little things that they're gonna be building as time goes on. It's going to tie it back to RICO, which is the bigger picture of this case. I am currently following the live updates from CNN, so by the time this video gets posted, you guys will see what occurred and what transpired on May 15th. There's going to be timestamps so you guys can follow along. So at this point, the defense is trying to paint the picture of a more complicated relationship between Combs and Ventura. In its cross-examination, the defense is trying to argue that they're trying to argue to the jury that Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs' relationship was more complicated than what the prosecution painted it to be. This is from a CNN reporter in the courtroom. Prosecutors, during their direct examination of Ventura, have alleged that Combs committed a sex trafficking crime. Combs' defense is that there was a domestic violence in this relationship. He's not running away from it, but they're just saying that it wasn't sex trafficking. The defense is arguing that many of the fights between Combs and Ventura came because of infidelity on both sides. In response to their questioning, Ventura testified that drug use made them both irritable. That's another way, that's another way that the defense here is trying to create a more complicated scene than what the theory of the prosecution case is, end quote, she said. The defense also asked Ventura about if Combs' staff knew about the freak-offs. So this goes to the racketeering charge against Combs, in which the prosecution alleges he was using his businesses and his enterprise to commit these crimes, Scannell said. So Scannell is the CNN reporter who was actually in the courtroom. So Ventura testified that she didn't tell Combs' staff about the sexual encounter. She didn't even want them knowing about the freak-offs. But yesterday, she detailed how some of the Combs assistants and other personnel would help make arrangements for escorts and hotel rooms. We have more updates coming on the way. It's currently 1:56, and 10 minutes ago, more messages of the freak-offs were presented to the jury. So in one conversation from March 2017, Ventura told Combs to stop playing the victim. Quote, "That's all you wanted, and that's why I was upset," Ventura wrote. And then she said, "I love our freak-offs when we both want it," she wrote. Ventura testified that I would say that loving freak-offs were just words at that point. The jury then saw messages of Combs and Ventura planning and preparing for a freak-off. Ventura confirmed that there were times Combs picked up supplies and contacted escorts for them. Child. Okay, so now they're presenting more text messages between Combs and Ventura. So at this point, the defense is reading the text from Combs to Ventura, in which he wrote about a surprise package coming from out of state. So the jury is seeing messages of Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura planning and preparing for a freak-off. Ventura confirmed that there were times Combs picked up supplies and contacted escorts for them. In an exchange from 2017, Combs told Ventura he was making plans for a freak-off. So then Diddy's lawyer, Anna Estavio, read aloud some of his texts. Okay, quote, "Didn't hear from you, so I just put some plans in motion, so let me know to stop." Another text says, "Surprise package coming from out of state." Then another text reads, "Just let me know if I'm headed in the wrong direction so I can't cancel." What do you guys think these text messages is trying to show here? It's trying to show that Diddy was being this like person who was, you know, asking for consent or just making sure that she was comfortable. They're trying to paint this picture like, okay, like he didn't just force you into it. He was being generous. He was asking you, he was telling you about this freak off, but he didn't want to put too much pressure on you. Just the fact that he's asking, just let me know if I'm heading in the wrong direction. Let me know if you want me to cancel. That already makes the kind of emphasize the defense's claim that, you know, this was consensual. You know what these text messages also can show? The fact that Diddy said there's a surprise package coming from out of state, that could also prove trafficking. What is this surprise package? Is this an escort? Like, okay, yes, this shows that he wasn't forcing her, but it can also show these escorts moving out of state lines to go perform these sexual acts. This is prostitution. Okay, it is currently 2:12 p.m. and Ventura says she felt some jealousy of Combs' former partner Kim Porter, who is also the baby mama of his 3 children, the twins and Christian Combs. So Cassie is now testifying about other women Sean Diddy Combs spent time with while the 2 of them were dating. Ventura testified that she has some jealousy of Miss Porter, referring to Kim Porter. She passed away in 2018. So she confirmed that it would upset her when Combs would spend holidays with his family and Porter, even though the 2 were no longer romantically involved. Ventura also testified that she learned Combs was spending time with the woman called Gina in April 2014. Do y'all remember Gina? That woman, the Asian woman that was going back and forth with Young Miami? Child, I think Gina is the same woman that's referred to in this testimony. Ventura testified, "I was really upset." She said Combs denied the relationship to an extent, but added that she and Combs argued multiple times about him getting back together with Gina. I think Gina is that Asian chick that was going back and forth with Young Miami at some point on Twitter. Yeah, she and Combs also argued about other women, and Combs was also suspicious that she was romantically involved with other men. Ventura addresses the defense, saying she feels there's a lot we skipped over. Let's get into it. Okay, I'm literally following this live. Defense attorney Anna Estavio reviews some text messages with Cassie Ventura from a 17-page text exchange between her and Sean Diddy Combs. In the thread, the couple was planning for Combs to join her in New York City for the weekend. The jury also saw texts between them planning to see the Book of Mormon and about escorts and a sex club. When Estavio moved on to another exhibit, Ventura said, this isn't about what I feel is relevant right now, right? Because there's a lot we skipped over. Estelvio didn't acknowledge her question. She said, this isn't about what I feel is relevant right now, right? Because there's a lot we skipped over. Oh, she didn't even acknowledge her question. Damn. All right, we gonna keep following along, but like, yo, let's kind of like circle back to Gina. So I'm gonna put up like the exchange between Young Miami and Gina, because I feel like Gina was talking a lot about Diddy back in 2019. She was also talking about how he was cheating on her. There's a video. So Gina warned us about. So I'm reading this like article.
To get into everything, I want to say that Virginia has never ever done an interview.
Our name is Virginia.
So I want you to be patient with her. All right. So I want to start from the beginning, okay? Because we discussed a lot over the phone. Some very, very intimate details and things that just kind of made me go, wow. Okay, about the specifics of you and Diddy's relationship. So I want to start from the beginning, okay?
Okay.
How long have you known Diddy?
I've known him for 5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
I think it's her.
Telling me what year did you meet him?
I met him February 2014. Well, technically, the very first time I met him was September 2013, because I was at a fight in Vegas and I went to the Palms and he was hosting there. So I kind of met him there, but he says he remembered it vaguely. And then like 5 months later, I ran into him again in Miami, February 14th, 2014. So that's when we like officially met, I guess.
And what was that encounter like? When you met him and like,
oh,
you remember him,
God.
Of course, everybody.
All right, let me pause this.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is this video that I'm watching is from a YouTuber who posted a snippet of Tasha K's interview with Gina, and Gina was recounting how her relationship was very abusive with Diddy. And then I'm reading the comments and people were talking about how like they remember when the interview dropped, Gina mentioned how Cassie witnessed her there at some party and she had empathy for her, and I couldn't understand why Cassie would be like that with the woman that her man is cheating on with. But now after recent events, Cassie knew she was a victim of Diddy also. Diabolical. I feel like young people are saying, oh, Young Miami, they're looking at Carisha sideways because of that comment she made to this girl, because you know the exchange between her and Gina. Young Miami was not like, she don't really know what's up, okay? All she see is dollar signs. She just saw a billionaire man with so much power and connection. Young Miami just saw, it was literally just dollar signs. Okay. 2:20 p.m. Ventura says women on social media often claim to be in a relationship with Combs. That's not a shock, right? Like was coming out with a new woman, like every month or every week. Women on social media would often claim to have a relationship with Sean Diddy Combs. His ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura testified, it happened often enough that I don't know that I would remember every single one, she said, end quote. Defense attorney Anna Stavia asked if Ventura would react when she saw Combs with other women. She said, yes, mainly Gina, Ventura responded. She confirmed that a woman called Gina was the main problem in their relationship. This is the same Gina we're talking about, the same Gina in that Tasha K interview that was talking about how she got abused. Child. But why do you think Cassie was more like focusing on Gina rather than Kim Porter? Maybe because Gina was like, she felt like Gina would be her replacement, and Kim Porter is just like the older ex with kids, like his baby mama, while Gina was more like this young, light-skinned looking woman that sort of like is like her rival, her competition. Cassie's really out here name dropping. She's out here name dropping, okay?
Now, from that time of you meeting him and you give him your number, how long did it take before you guys actually made it official? Well, you made it official, but he was off, of course, doing other things, the way these dates are kind of...
We never, like...
Okay, so allegedly, Diddy hit Gina and made her terminate 2 pregnancies. So she goes into detail in this interview. I'm gonna find this interview and link it in this description box if it's still up, because this This is crazy.
Okay, let's be official. We never ever had that conversation. We just kind of knew, like, we just felt like we were together.
Oh, you meet his kids all the time together?
We did.
Okay, so you were at the house. Did you meet his kids? Wow. Okay. Now,
So pause. So she got with him in 2014. He was still with Cassie at the time, and Cassie lived in a super dope like condo, which was right down the hill from his mansion in Los Angeles. So close that he could literally drive his golf cart from his property to her apartment. So I guess when Cassie was at home or off to work or whatever the case may be, he would have Gina over. Wow.
okay, man. You said that things had gotten so serious that you became pregnant. Not once, but twice, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When was the first time you became pregnant with Diddy's child?
The first time was October 2014.
Okay. So this was like, what, a year after?
No, not a year, but because I met him in February, and I got pregnant in October.
Also the same year.
The same year.
Also the same year. Okay.
So just think about the fact that he was sleeping with her unprotected, sleeping with Cassie unprotected, had Cassie doing freak offs, sleeping with schmex workers. Oh my God.
And you mind telling me what happened with that pregnancy?
I told him, and he was like, you're gonna get an abortion, right? And then I was like, I don't know yet. And then he offered me $50,000 to get rid of it, but I turned it down because
y'all heard that 50,000? So that must be his go-to sum when he's ready to pay somebody off. That's the amount that he allegedly paid the Intercontinental Hotel for.
Y'all, shout out to Color Me Pink, because she posted this last year, May 23rd. And she said, Gina warned us about Diddy in 2019. So this is when all the rumors were coming out like flies and cockroaches about Diddy. Child.
The security footage of him jumping on Cassie. And this young lady back in 2019 during this interview said that he offered her $50K to get rid of the baby. Wow.
I just loved him, and I just...
All right, enough about this. We're gonna get into more in this more deep dives into Gina, but for now we got to get back into Cassie's testimony. Her cross-examination. At 1 p.m. the jury took a break, and about 10 minutes ago, Ventura said she got a burner phone to hide her new relationship from Diddy. Cassie testified that Diddy introduced rapper Kid Cudi around 2011 so they could work on music together. They began dating while she was on a break with Diddy. She testified that she got a burner phone to communicate with Kid Cudi because she didn't want Combs to find out about the relationship. Quote, I thought it would be way too dangerous to tell him about that, end quote, she said. Ventura said Combs eventually found out about the relationship when he went through her phone during a freak-off. She said that she was still having freak-offs with Combs while they were on a break because it was a job. Ventura said Combs lunged at her when he found out, but he didn't make contact with her. And then the messages shows Ventura's frustration over her difficulty forming a relationship with Combs' children. Oh, by 2013, Cassie Ventura had been in a relationship with Sean Diddy Combs for about 7 years, she testified. But she said she still hadn't been able to form a relationship with his kids. Ventura expressed her frustration over not being able to spend time with him and his children in the July 2013 message she sent to Combs, which was shown to the jury this afternoon. The message in part references other divorced celebrity couples and how they spend time together with families. So she was kind of comparing other divorced celebrity couples and her relationship with Diddy and Cole. She's like, it's not given that. The messages went on to say, quote, "I've been at the edge of tears this whole week. I don't think that you sympathize with my feelings. I understand you feeling like you need to protect your children, but after a while, it's like, for what? They've never known you and Kim Porter to be together, unless there's something that I just don't know about. They were babies when we started dating." So then at this point, Diddy is seen passing sticky notes to the lawyer during Cassie's testimony. So while the defense questioned Cassie about text messages, Sean Diddy Combs was seen writing on orange sticky notes and passing one after another to his attorney sitting beside him. Combs also spoke during the break briefly with the attorney handling the cross-examination. Okay, this is why I wish there were cameras in that courtroom. We want to know what he is saying. We want to know what he's writing on them sticky notes. What is you saying? So Cassie being upset or jealous of other women, or just upset at the fact that Diddy never really wanted her around the kids. Even during holidays, he was spending time with Kim Porter and his children, and she felt like they weren't spending enough time. Like, it wasn't like the beginning of the relationship where it felt like boyfriend and girlfriend. And it just kind of to me it just shows how he wanted to keep Cassie as his little sex toy. He wanted Cassie to be a part of a side of him, to be a part of the world that he is creating, this like fantasy dark world. And aside from that, she's not gonna be a part of anything else, not family, not even just going out traveling, doing things together. Cassie was just feeling she was only a part of his small, dark, grimy world. That Combs often brought up her relationship with Kid Cudi. He was clearly jealous. He would often bring her relationship with rapper Kid Cudi. He brought it up quite a bit. She testified. She confirmed that when she would accuse him of cheating on her, he would often bring her relationship with Kid Cudi in response. Then she talks about how she broke up with him in 2015. She says she broke it up with Combs by sending a video of him with another woman at an event to a text chain with Combs and some of his closest staff. Ventura says she felt betrayed by them for not telling her. But like, them staff, they were just as complicit. They did whatever Diddy told them to do. They were behind him like freaking ducks. Okay? Ventura says she also blocked Combs. She blocked his phone number for a time while she was filming. My thing is, she's getting upset at the staff, but you have to also understand the staff, like I said, is working for Diddy. They are being paid to shut. They're being paid to hide. They're being paid to shut up. And if they don't, they're gonna be retaliated. They're gonna get just as abused as she is too. So they're also victims in a way, if you think about it like that. And then also Michael B. Jordan's name was just dropped in the court by the defense. So she mentioned that Diddy was also suspicious that Cassie was starting to date actor Michael B. Jordan. When asked about it, Cassie said she didn't know how Combs reacted to this news because she wasn't with him to see it. Diddy's lawyer Anna Estavio moved on from that line of questioning without expanding on that purported relationship with Jordan. So at this point, the prosecutors are gonna likely bring experts to argue that psychologically that her testimony shows coercion. It shows that she was being forced, and they're also gonna try to find in her testimony, like they're gonna try to see how it fits into what he's being charged with. So at this point of the trial, I feel like the defense is trying to make the case that Cassie was on drugs most of the time and couldn't remember majority of what happened, including Diddy dangling her friend over the balcony. The defense attorney Anna Estavio suggested that Cassie didn't personally witness Diddy dangling her friend Brianna Urbana Bongolin over a balcony at her apartment. So she asks, "Isn't it true you learned about this incident after the fact?" Ventura responded, "I saw what I saw." Estavio then showed Ventura a text message she sent Combs' chief of staff, Christina Corham, shortly after the incident, telling her that she learned of the altercation after the fact. Ventura told the prosecution during her testimony yesterday that she woke up to find Combs holding her friend over her balcony railing before throwing her onto the patio furniture. Estavio asked Ventura if she was on drugs that night. Ventura testified she couldn't remember if she'd done drugs before falling asleep earlier that day. Okay, and now Cassie said that in early 2017 she got very sick from her drug use and began to look for help. So I feel like they're gonna try to lean into that drug use and be like, okay, Cassie was a drug addict and so was Diddy, you know, and that kind of caused their relationship to be very toxic. Cassie then said, I lost all sense of smell and taste when I woke up and I had numbing in my arm. She said she also experienced some dissociative side effects from ketamine use. Ventura confirmed that Diddy noticed some of her symptoms and suggested she see doctors. She said she didn't tell Combs everything about her drug use throughout their relationship, but she added that they were both doing a lot of drugs. I feel like a lot of drugs, they're going to lean into that. So Diddy overdosed on painkillers and February 12, Cassie Ventura confirmed while testifying. She said that on that day, they had a freak off and went to a Schmeck's club before Combs went without her to a party at the Playboy Mansion. Later that night, she took him to the hospital where they learned he experienced an overdose. Quote, from what he told me, he took a very strong opiate that night, but we didn't know what was happening, so we took him to the hospital. End quote. Defense attorney Anna Stavio has asked a lengthy line of questions to suggest Combs was relying on opiates and any withdrawal from them would negatively affected his mood. He was extremely dependent on opiates, right? And then Cassie responded for a time. Estavio asked, he was very upset if his opiates were taken away from him. Ventura then said, I guess so. It is currently 4 p.m. and I'm ready to wrap this up, okay? So the defense returns to Ventura's previous testimony on the incident concerning Suge Knight. So, Estavio, what? Okay, so defense attorney Anna Stavio returned to Cassie's previous testimony about the time Combs' rival Marion Suge Knight was nearby and he and his security guards quickly packed up and drove down there. Estavio pointed to a report from investigators after they met with Ventura in June 2024, which said she told them she was brought along in the car and cried. Ventura said that was incorrect. She said, I didn't go in the car with them. During her testimony yesterday, Ventura said Combs was rivals with Knight, the former rap mogul who was sentenced to 28 years in prison for a fatal hit-and-run incident on the set of the movie Straight Outta Compton. The defense asked Ventura to confirm if the baby oil they were using was laced with drugs. The defense attorney also asked her to confirm that filling a baby pool would take a lot of baby oil and might explain why Sean Diddy Combs was keeping lots of baby oil on hand. So the judge, Harun Subramanian, sustained an objection to that question. Large amounts of baby oil were recovered during searches of Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles around March 2024. And then law enforcement seized like various freak-off supplies, including drugs and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant at his homes. So the lawyer keeps suggesting that Diddy was going through withdrawal before the 2016 hotel altercation. Remember that video that went around of Diddy beating on Cassie in a hotel? That's what they're talking about. They're saying that he had a withdrawal before that moment, and that's why he was acting erratic. So Anna Estavio said, I was going to repeat myself, but Combs' attorney reviewed a series of text messages from March 3 between Combs and Cassie Ventura in which the couple discussed Combs having symptoms that Estavio suggested are consistent with withdrawal. Ventura testified that she does not remember combs going through her drawer at the time. She acknowledged the text appeared to suggest he was sick at the time. At this point, it is 4:36 p.m. I've been covering this since 12 p.m. and I'm going to be providing updates later on, but we are going to end the video here, okay? We're going to come back tomorrow, which is Friday, May 16th, because the cross-examination is expected to be done tomorrow. The judge wants the cross-examination of Cassie to be completed by noon. Okay, so, you know, she's very pregnant. She's expected to pop any minute, so they're trying to wrap things up very quickly. So guys, thank you guys so much for sticking through with me and keeping up with this trial with me. Bear with me as I'm trying my best to provide day-to-day updates. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like, and don't forget to also catch up if you didn't miss out on day 1 to day 3. I posted a video on that as well. So yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.